What's up, everybody? Ron Placone here, reporting for Status Coup. It's been a minute. Good to see everybody again. So, I've been covering the digital rights beat and participating in digital rights policy battles for a while now. And sometimes people ask me, well, why do you do that? Well, why do you partake in that? And the most obvious answer is, well, I've been following this beat for nearly 20 years now. Literally, I've been following the net neutrality beat since 2004. So they're issues that are near and dear to me. They're issues that I care a lot about. But there's another answer. And that answer is just a bit more practical. I got to be honest with you guys. Sometimes I just need to win every now and again. I need to get a couple things in the win column. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where football is a way of life. And some of those principles kind of rub off on you. And one of those principles is we don't put a bow on a loss. We don't polish the turd that is a loss. A loss is a loss, and a win is a win. And I would argue that the left collectively has been losing for nearly 100 years in the United States. We are infected with neoliberalism to an extreme degree, and there are no signs of that easing anytime soon. And that's been going on for nearly 100 years, and it's really been amped up in the past 50. So as a whole, we've taken a lot of losses, a lot. So every now and again, I really need to see some policy victories. And I've seen some policy victories in this space. Have I had some losses too? Absolutely. I've taken some losses, but I've seen some wins. We got net neutrality at the state level. We've been banning facial recognition. We've stopped bills like the JCPA. It looks like COSA's not going to go to the floor anytime soon. We're winning on that one. Fingers crossed. So here's another victory in a sea of very, very bad news and climate catastrophe going on everywhere all the time. And of course, school shootings are back. You get the drill. I just got back to the country. I was in Scotland, and of course, I came home to see news about the latest mass shooting. So here's a little victory for everybody. A while ago, Fight for the Future, which full disclaimer, I collaborate with, launched this effort. Make DMs safe. You guys have seen me promote this before, makedmsafe.com. And this was in response to Facebook recently handed over direct messages between a mom and her teenage daughter to police. Now they're being prosecuted under the state's anti-abortion law. So this was a petition to call on all social media entities to give us end-to-end encryption on our messages to make our messages safe. Well, we got an update here, everybody. Meta plans to roll out default end-to-end encryption for Messenger by the end of the year. So check this out. This is from TechCrunch. Meta said today that the company plans to enable end-to-end encryption by default for Messenger by the end of the year. The tech giant is also expanding to test its end-to-end encryption features to make millions more people's chats. The company has been building end-to-end encryption features in Messenger for years now. However, most of them have been optional or experimental. For example, in 2016, Meta started rolling out end-to-end encryption protection through a secret conversations mode. 2021, it introduced such an option for voice and video calls. Company made a similar move to provide end-to-end encryption option for group chats. So basically, there was some experimentation going on, but if you weren't really in the know or you weren't looking for it, it escaped you. And of course, we have seen the effects of not having end-to-end encryption, especially when it comes to Facebook. There's increasing pressure on Meta to enable end-to-end encryption so the company or others can't access users' chat messages. They give a summary as to why and give a couple examples. Protecting individual communications has become more important after a girl and her mother in Nebraska pleaded guilty to abortion charges in July after Meta handed over her DMs to police. Last year, the police prosecuted the 17-year-old based on data about her direct messages from Messenger provided by Meta soon after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. In a letter to digital rights advocacy group Fight for the Future, Meta's deputy privacy officer, Rob Sherman, said it will roll out end-to-end encryption to Instagram DMs after the Messenger rollout. He also mentioned that the testing phase has ended up being longer than anticipated. So let's go now to Fight for the Future's response to this. Fight for the Future, of course, received this letter directly from Meta. And here's what they had to say in response. Meta responds to end-to-end encryption demands. In a private letter to fight for the future, Meta has reiterated its commitment to rolling out default end-to-end encryption for Messenger in 2023, a move that could significantly address users' privacy concerns. The letter is in response to the demands of the Make DM Safe campaign, which calls on companies with messaging platforms, including Meta, to immediately implement default end-to-end encryption. So here's the key excerpts. Meta remains committed to rolling out end-to-end encryption for private conversations in Messenger in 2023. Shortly after, Instagram. They clarify why the process is taking time, specifically noting it requires complex engineer work. All right. They share their perspective on the importance of end-to-end encryption. Okay, that's good. The letter also highlights why end-to-end encryption is not only important for security, but may also be the right business choice. End-to-end encryption is the best technology we have to protect people's messages, and we also see it as an important reason why people might choose to use our products over competitors. Got to give them a capitalist perspective, don't you? You got to give them a capitalist incentive. You want groups like Meta to do the right thing. You got to make it make sense for the bottom line, baby. As our increasing digital lives open up new surface area for surveillance, identity theft, cyber attacks, and other threats, privacy experts have consistently pointed to end-to-end encryption as a vital layer of protection for everyone online, but especially for marginalized people, from activists to abortion seekers to communities of colors that have historically faced abuse from law enforcement. Fight for the Future is calling on all companies with direct messaging platforms to take action in response to the demands of Make DMs Safe. While Meta has been willing to discuss its end-to-end encryption plans, companies such as Slack, Apple, Discord, and Google have not responded to Fight for the Future's letters. So, some good news here. Definitely a victory. This is a big victory and is cause for, hey, that's good. But the fight, no pun intended, is not over yet. There's still a lot of work to do. I encourage everybody, please go to makedmsafe.com. Again, that's makedmsafe.com. I'll pull it up again for y'all. It's makedmsafe.com. Please do sign that petition. Make your voice heard. Facebook is responding, and Facebook is one of the social media juggernauts. So if Facebook has to respond, hopefully other ones responds really soon. And that, of course, includes Slack, Apple, Google, et cetera, et cetera. So this campaign is working. This campaign is seeing some fruits for the labor. So let's keep it up. Go to makedmsafe.com. And folks, before we sign out, I just want to give a quick thank you. As some of you already know, I was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this month. I had an amazing time in Edinburgh. And guess what? The Status Coup community showed up in Edinburgh, Scotland. It was so cool to meet some of the international Status Coup comedians. The Status Coup comedians. I meant to say community. I said comedians. What are you going to do? I guess I'm still facing a little jet lag. But anyway, it was awesome to meet everybody. Shout out to Venetia, Ronan, Travers. So cool to meet some of the Status Coup community overseas. And by the way, that continues the streak of having Status Coup listeners at every road show I've had this year, domestically and now internationally. So I got to mention, got one more big one this year, folks. October 21st, San Pedro, California. That's right. I go from international to my own neighborhood. But I'm doing a comedy series in my neighborhood of San Pedro, doing a headliner series. The first headliner is myself, along with Stephanie Blum. She's phenomenal. She's been on HBO, Discovery, Nickelodeon, you name it. So get your tickets now for that at romplacone.com. And let's continue the Status Coup trend. And this is Ron Placone for Status Coup, signing out.